Louisville's made up of many roads and streets. However, the Bardstown Rd, Baxter Avenue Corridor is a unique 3-mile stretch of road that balances vehicular traffic with pedestrians and is energized by a collection of restaurants, bars, and retail shops. In this episode, we'll take a look at the corridor's history, see how it is constantly evolving, and check out what makes this area of Louisville so special.
Located in the area of Louisville called the Highlands, an eclectic, high-density mix of restaurants, homes, and businesses gives the 3-mile stretch of Bardstown Road and Baxter Avenue its own unique identity.
This is no imitation. This is the real McCoy. Now, frankly, there have been changes and adaptations even on Baxter and Bardstown Road. For instance, we used to have a grocery store virtually on every corner and a drugstore thrown in between. We could use more of that in the corridor. That's the traditional way of doing it. But now we have a lot of boutiques, a lot of coffee shops, a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, and ice cream shops thrown in between. And so it has changed, it has morphed, but it still captures that traditional way of doing things.
Being a part of the street activity and actually being on the street where people walk by and see someone they know and they stop and they chat and they have a bite to eat or a cup of coffee. It's a very interactive thing, and it's something that's extremely popular. People like to be outside in beautiful weather. They like to be a part of the action of Bardstown Road.
It's always been a place where you just want to walk up and down Bardstown Road. You just want to be outside. You want to see the traffic. It's been that way since I was a kid. That's part of Bardstown Road, being outside, you know, sitting outside, eating, just enjoying Bardstown Road, enjoying the Highlands.
Anybody who really comes to Bardstown Road really knows that it's a walking neighborhood. They know they're going to have to park. And there's really tons of parking on the street and around. So I really love it's the energy for me, and it's the young people, and just, you know, there's a little bit of everything, and I like that.
The Bardstown Road Baxter Avenue area was one of the last areas near downtown Louisville to be urbanized. The start of construction of a turnpike, later to be Bardstown Road, led to the businesses forming along the roadway. As the streetcar lines extended down Bardstown Road, so did the growth, and the area became a traditional streetcar suburb. Buses replaced the streetcars along Bardstown Road when the last streetcar ran down Bardstown Road in 1947.
There's a whole lot of tradition on the way we do business on this corridor. Think about the old town square with the shops around the town square, or think about it in another way, even a more modern. Think about miles and miles of linear outdoor mall. So this is a strolling kind of place, and those are among the reasons that have made, I think, and continue to make this a very, very vital corridor.
The area thrived for a number of decades and then suffered when residents began moving to the newer suburbs. Resident concerns increased in the 1970s, with many expressing serious concern about the area.
The most important historic moments in the corridor really occurred in the 1970s. On April 3rd, obviously a very damaging tornado crossed Louisville and very, very adversely impacted the corridor in the course of that day. And it got people to thinking, both on the residential end and on the business end, hey, this is a really special place. We love it. It's always kind of been this way. What could happen if another tornado came, or worse, the so-called tornado of development improvement? And that was sort of occurring at the same time. The Mid-City Mall was in receivership. There was a lot of crime and a lot of disinvestment, both on that particular property and up and down the corridor. The neighborhoods that surrounded Bardstown Road were becoming rental neighborhoods, not owner-occupied neighborhoods. And then in the late 70s, another thing happened on the corridor at the intersection of Grinstead Drive and Bardstown Road, and that was the demolition of 3 historic corner buildings, and in their place were developed a gas station, a fast food restaurant, and a used car lot. This really galvanized this group of residents and business owners and government to come together and say, the character of this corridor, the heart and soul of this corridor is being destroyed. and they really wanted to protect the pedestrian character, that sense of place that is inherent in this street and always has been, even as it developed over the last 100 years. And they came together and said, something is really wrong here.
There became an interest along this corridor with a very vital business association and even neighborhood groups for wanting to preserve that quality of neighborhood commercial business district. There are some aspects of that that are very important. Storefront windows that you can see in and folks can see out, being a front door at the sidewalk. Those are among the qualities, the elements that make up that traditional neighborhood shopping district.
Came to be about December 22nd, 1988, and probably the final straw occurred, and that was the closing of the White Castle at the corner of Eastern Parkway and Bardstown Road. That single event probably caused more immediate concern than anything else. It was kind of the straw that broke the back, and people came together, lobbied government to protect this area for the future, and that's how the Bardstown Road overlay was actually developed.
We established an overlay district, a Bardstown Road overlay district, with a committee of citizens and architects and neighbors and business people to review applications for significant modification of an existing building or new construction.
It's a fairly straightforward process. If you have something you want to do, whether you're a small business or a large corporation, we're very respectful of the historic buildings here, and so we want to ensure that changes that are made to them are done in a sensitive manner. But it is not a preservation district, so you're able to do a lot more things perhaps in terms of exterior change to buildings. So we have a high interaction with the public, with the property owners and the businesses to achieve those changes in a way that's compatible with the history of the corridor.
Yes, it is another step, but what you end up with is a designer Valvoline oil station, a designer McDonald's, and all kinds of new construction, including a Highland Cleaners building, a new office building where Heine Brothers and the cell phone store are. All of these things along the way have provided that traditional element of the windows, of the door that opens on the sidewalk, the parking in the back. Those are among the very important things of that traditional neighborhood that I'm talking about, and that's what the Bardstown Road Overlay District tries to preserve.
The Overlay District's architectural and design guidelines try to preserve the charm and vitality of the corridor, keeping it from becoming another suburban-style commercial strip. The review process balances three objectives. 1. Fairness. Everything possible is done to be even-handed and avoid needless delays to applicants. 2. Continuity. Proposals are weighed by how much they fit into their surroundings, while understanding that the corridor is very diverse. And 3. Economic vitality. Bardstown Road is different, it's fun, and even occasionally offbeat. The corridor is successful, and making room for everybody's interests is an important part of making the process work.
That's the sense of place, the sense of it's not always encapsulated in a highly historic building, but it's the history that the people carry with them who live in this area and have been a part of this corridor for decades. And young, old, rich, poor, people from all walks of life came to the White Castle, and it was a huge symbol of an urban sense of place, and it really was special. And it wasn't about architecture, it was about the soul of a community.
The corridor is filled with antique stores, restaurants, bars, oddity stores, and coffee shops. The storefronts have the characteristic of being right on the street, continuing the tradition of the streetcar-era suburb. The area is walkable and livable. The Bardstown Road Baxter Avenue Overlay District works to protect these unique characteristics.
The Twig and Leaf is probably the last vestige of what in great part the White Castle came to mean to a lot of people in this community. The Twig and Leaf was a very early example of roadside dining, where people would come by and stop for a bite to eat, or could just walk by on their way doing their neighborhood business, doing their grocery shopping, whatever, and it became a place just to hang out and be a part of a community.
For many of those reasons, the Landmarks Commission provided the Twig and Leaf Building historic landmark status in 2011. The corridor's characteristics have led to new businesses choosing to open along Bardstown Road and Baxter Avenue.
This has been an incubator for innovation as far as business is concerned. The way we talk about it is funky to fashionable.
The main thing was we thought the theater would be a perfect fit in the Highlands. The Highlands attracts, all different types of people, all different ages. And to kind of give an example of what I was talking about, the reason why I love Bardstown Road so much is I work mostly in the kitchen, and I came up one time and I was bringing the food up. There was a couple, an older couple, guy had on a three-piece suit, his wife had on a dress. Right next to him there was a younger couple, t-shirts, shorts, flip-flops, and a couple tables down there was two girls with big red wigs, and their faces were painted. But that was common. It wasn't a big deal. That's okay in the Highlands. Other places that I've been to outside of the Highlands, you really don't see that. But it's just a good mixture of people, which is what really attracted us, what attracted, our business motto toward Bardstown Road.
We traveled from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and we were so tired we just couldn't find the right space. And so we ended up in Kentucky, and we went to Bowling Green, and it didn't really feel right, and we came to Louisville and happened on Bardstown Road, and I just said, I love this energy. They have bands and events that go on here, and the art shows, and there's always something going on, so it's a lot of fun.
You can just move along the corridor, have a drink, eat out, stop in a shop, move on down for a cup of coffee later in the evening, and if you need to, stay up all night and have a breakfast at 5 in the morning.
The Highlands, anything unusual is accepted. It's almost expected. There's nothing like it.
And that is what we are striving to protect the last 21 years, is that incredible feeling of sense of place and a uniqueness to the city of Louisville.
The Bardstown Road Baxter Avenue Overlay District is administered by the city's Division of Planning and Design Services. With input from a citizen review panel, the Bardstown Road Baxter Avenue Corridor Overlay Review Committee. Call 574-6230 for more information, or visit louisvilleky.gov.
You're watching Metro TV, a public service of Louisville Metro government.